Recruiting never stops, and after landing the number 3 class in the nation this year, it's time to get to work on the 2024 recruits. Texas hosted Junior Day last Saturday and brought in some important names you need to know. Recruiting expert Justin Wells of Inside Texas was on the ground during Junior Day talking with the players, and he's here to introduce us to this next crop of ballers. Inside Texas is the place to stay in the know on all things recruiting. Sign up for InsideTexas.com today. Link in the description. Let's get to know some of these key prospects that could join the squad in 2024. Without further ado, let's get into it. Glad to have you back on, Justin. And quarterback is already settled with the commitment of Trey Owens, so let's start at running back. Choice pulled in the best running back in the nation in 2023, and he's looking to do the same in 2024. What names should we be paying attention to?
Coach Choice brought in the number 1 and number 2 running backs in the country for 2024, 2 of the top tailbacks for 2025, and one of the best for 2026 on Saturday. And what you need to know is Coach Choice goes big game hunting. That's just what he does. Jarrett Gibson's the top tailback in the On3 rankings. He comes in out of the IMG Academy down in Bradenton, Florida. He's been to campus once before, could not wait to get back, had an absolute blast. He's got a great relationship with Coach Choice. They've been building for almost 3-4 years now. He's known him back to the days when Coach Choice was at Georgia Tech. Jarek is his number 1 target. The number 2 target's Taylor Tatum. And the number 2 running back in the On3 rankings is also Taylor Tatum. It's pretty interesting. You put 2 tailbacks that are top 2 in the country, you put them side by side, they actually hung out. They actually got along. They're actually, they exchanged numbers and they had actually, mentioned to each other about both playing at the same place. And so anytime you see Coach Choice go after a running back, I can tell you right now, he's probably going to be one of the highest rated guys in the country, because after bringing in Cedric Baxter and after really helping Bijan Robinson last year, I think Choice has solidified himself as a A-plus recruiter in college football. And getting Jarrett Gibson from Florida and Taylor Tatum on campus in the same room at the same time was pretty big on Saturday.
For sure. And our new wide receiver coach actually wasn't even hired until after Junior Day. So how did we get around that? And who are the big names that are standing out?
Right now, it starts and stops with Micah Hudson, the On3 4-star, number 3 in the country at receiver out of Lake Belton. Micah Hudson is special, Homer. There's no weakness to his game. I actually went and saw him play basketball a couple weeks ago. And he's 6 foot, about 190, 195 pounds, solid kid, incredibly strong hands. He had like 13, 14 rebounds in the post with his size at that level. Pretty impressive. And it was his explosiveness off the floor that really stood out. Pretty effortless. Catches a ball after the catch. He's phenomenal. He's quick twitch. He's the total package. He came in earlier than everyone else for a little bit of one-on-one time and was able to catch up with Coach Sark and Coach Banks and the staff. The thing that's notable about Micah is that Texas is squarely in the mix, along with Ohio State, Texas Tech, and a number of other schools. He's got 25, 30-something offers already. But it's the fact that Sark has made him the primary contact. He loves that the head coach at Texas is his primary guy, and that's the guy that he talks with the most. Sark went by the school a couple weeks ago, saw him, and left with a good impression. Now, Hudson had meant to go on this visit the whole time, and then a couple days before Saturday, he had a training session scheduled that was going to conflict with it. He went ahead and rescheduled that because he felt like he hadn't been back in Austin enough. He wanted to go back and see Sark and see the guys. Getting Micah Hudson on campus on Saturday was big. The fact that he came in early and had some one-on-one time was essential into maintaining their status on that recruitment. Jakyle Baker is, if there's one that's the highly rated, Jakyle Baker's the one that a lot of people don't know about. But, buddy, you better know. He's a 6'4", 185-pound wide receiver out of Brownsboro, Texas. Baker made the trip to Austin, had a blast. He loves Texas. That was one of his first big offers. Oklahoma State, Texas Tech are in the mix. Oregon just offered him. They're big into it as well. But right now, this is a kid that not only excels in football, he's a tremendous basketball player. He's a regional qualifier in track and field. Jakyle is one of those guys that he's a field stretcher. He's that outside receiver that this offense needs to go vertical. And so if you need to know about any, the top and the bottom receivers, you start with Micah Hudson and you stop with Jakyle Baker.
I like that we're going for more size on the outside. And speaking of size, Kyle Flood is back to his old ways, bringing in a ton of huge offensive linemen. Who are the main offensive linemen starting to emerge from that group?
Coach Flood has a type, and I think we've established that in the large human category. whether it be Michael Uni, DeAndre Carter, Ori Williams, Bennett Warren, just go down the list. These are large human beings that were on campus on Saturday. And when you talk to each one and you ask them, do you notice the last two classes of offensive linemen that Flood's brought in have been two of the top classes in the country both years? Is there something about those guys that are familiar? And they all smile and they all say, yeah, Coach Flood lets us know he prefers them big. Ori Williams is one that really caught their attention out of San Marcos, 6'6", size 17 shoe. He's got utmost potential, incredible, pro-like frame. And he's just, growing into his body and becoming more and more coordinated. He's a guy that I think you should be on the watch for. Michael Uni is one of the top in the country. He's got Alabama, Georgia, LSU. I think Texas and TCU are kind of going neck and neck for that right now. And then at the end of the day, you still got like a DeAndre Carter. That's one of the top offensive linemen in the country out of modern day. You know how much Steve Sarkisian has California love. And so he's always going to have a beat on some of the guys out there on the West Coast. Carter is one of them. Obviously his son Brady used to play at Mater Dei, and Texas 2023 signee Spencer Shannon is also from Mater Dei. So the fact that Carter came in was big as well. Like I said, Flood's got a type, and they are large. He wants his offensive linemen to be those big guys. And right now he's got two classes of them, and he's working on his third in Austin.
Let's check out the big dudes on the other side of the ball now. Interior defensive line recruiting has been a bit underwhelming in terms of elite talent. So how is that group shaping up in 2024? I know we brought in a ton of out-of-state guys, especially from SEC country.
That's exactly what they did, because the in-state crop of D linemen for 2024 in Texas just isn't that deep. And so it's going to require going out of state. You know where you start to do that, obviously, Homer. You go to SEC country. They grow them differently in Louisiana, in Mississippi, in Alabama, in Georgia, and sometimes Florida. They're just big, and they're strong, and they are mean. And Bo Davis has a type too. And so it's fun to see those guys like a DeAndre Robinson from Orlando come in. And he's friends with Texas signee and early enrollee Peyton Kirkland. And I know they got to hang out on Saturday. And so Robinson got to kind of get a feel of Texas. And I think that's a good position to put Bo Davis. Then you can look in-state. And for a guy like Alex January out of Duncanville, he's not as highly rated. He's only a 3-star. That'll change as the season goes on and as offseason goes on. He'll get re-ranked. He's 6'5", 315 pounds. He's a 2-year starter at Duncanville, and he just turned 16 years old. He's also really good at baseball. He's got an incredible bat, but he told me recently that he's going to stop playing baseball this year to focus fully on football. They know the scholarship is valuable, and they know just that's the route he's going to go. Not to mention his dad, Michael January, played linebacker at the University of Texas for years. So Alex has actually seen Austin and DKR growing up his whole life. Last Saturday was the first time he got to see it as a recruit. And I think it kind of started to sink in. He took a visit to Georgia a few days before, and you know how they're doing in Athens right now. It's all coming off back-to-back natties. That vibe there is as good as it is anywhere. And he loved it. And he's going to take more trips. He's scheduled to see USC, TCU, Miami, LSU over the next month or two. I don't think this recruitment's going to go too far into the summer. I don't think he's going to be a kid that takes a bunch of official visits. I just know that Texas is in a great spot with him right now. He's grown up in a Longhorn household. And so I can understand there's a little bit of that as well. He's building a great relationship with Bo Davis, and it doesn't hurt that his big brother is currently enrolled at UT. And so I don't think there's anything that can make his family happier than mom and dad coming to see both their boys in Austin one day. I think Texas and Bo did a great job with January.
I didn't realize January was that young. And also at edge, that's the position where we're missing that key piece. I want to see a top 3 edge in the nation on the team. So how's the edge talent in state, and who are we after? And I know we have Neto's younger brother, Zena Umeazulu, in the state, but he wasn't at junior day, right?
Yeah, with Zena Umeazulu, his brother, obviously, Neto is a freshman offensive lineman at Texas. Zena is a kid that, he's wide open right now. People might assume that it's Texas or they lead because his brother's there, and that couldn't be further from the truth. Zena's his own person. He's going to go his own route. Of course, he would love to play with his brother in Austin. He went to a half a dozen games last year, and he saw the development of the defense, and that's really stood out. And the last time I spoke to Zena a few weeks back, he had said that Texas looks great right now. They're continuing to build with him, and he loves what those guys are doing. But he was at Texas A&M last weekend for their junior day. I know he really enjoyed that visit as well. And so, yeah, Texas, that's the one position I think on defense that they're really trying to go hunting for, and that's to find that elite edge guy, that Colin Simmons type. If Zena is one on the chart, another one is King Joseph Edward out of Georgia. Now, this is a kid that's got basically every offer in the country. He has taken visits all over the country. He's a well-traveled young man, incredibly smart, early enrollee. Got to catch up with him and his mother after the visit on Saturday. Just tremendous people. I know he's from Georgia. I know he's from that region, but I think Texas made a move for him. I think he's going to come back, and I feel like when he does, narrow it down to his official visits, Texas is going to get one. And so right now, if there's one position for Texas fans that's a little influx right now, it's that edge. Because until Texas gets a guy that can consistently get to the quarterback, that's going to be the missing piece on this defense going from good to great. And so they're definitely prioritizing guys like Zena, like King Joseph, and then freshman defensive end Xavier Akpunu out of Denton Guyer. Now he's a 2025, and I think he's already a big kid, man. He's about 6'2.5", 6'3", probably 275, 280. Maybe not that big yet. He might be one that slides inside down the road. So I'm not sure if he actually is that quintessential edge they're looking for, but it's certainly a position of need. And it's certainly a position that if you saw a guy enter the portal with edge attributes, Texas is certainly probably going to go after him.
Yeah, we need to lock that down. And we knocked it out of the park with our linebacker haul in the 23 class. So what's the strategy for 2024 for backers? And what's the word on Pierce and Williams?
Getting Peyton Pierce and Justin Williams on campus was big because those are basically the two top targets on the big board for Texas, both natural inside linebackers. The last cycle, they brought 4 guys in, and with a couple other guys that are in the athlete spot, like a Jelani McDonald, who could wind up at different spots. But Pierce and Williams are top-notch guys. Peyton Pierce is also a wrestler. You can only imagine, battling with that guy. Recently took in a Notre Dame unofficial, went to Arkansas, went to Oklahoma. I think those are the 3 schools that Texas is battling. Got a story that's going up on Inside Texas soon about Pierce and the fact that he just keeps coming back to Austin. There's something about Texas and Jeff Choate that really resonates with Pierce, the Lucas Lovejoy 4-star. He's kind of the throwback of sorts. It's hard to find inside linebackers, Homer. And you can find those guys on the outside pretty easily because they're generally, hybrid athlete type guys. Those inside guys have to shoot gaps, have to bring their hard hat to the job every day, and usually are crashing cars 30 or 40 times per practice. And so getting Peyton Pierce in was big. Justin Williams, too, out of Conroe Oak Ridge. That's a kid that almost committed to Oregon last year. He had shot his video back in October, and it looked like he was about to pull the trigger, change his mind, kind of reset his recruitment. Texas is squarely in it with the Ducks as well. And so the fact that those 2 were on campus, I think, was big. I think Jeff Choate's got some really good momentum coming from the last cycle when you bring in an Anthony Hill Jr., a Leona Lafau, a Darian Gillette, a Samaje Burrell. I mean, those are linebackers that are going to do well at the next level. So Choate's got some good mojo running right now. And the fact that he got Pierce back on campus again and Justin Williams, those are good data points towards how this class is going to look at linebacker.
I really like the top end of our defensive back class from 23, but we need to fill the roster out more with some more secondary guys in the 24 class due to NFL guys leaving next season. Which players are the coaches keying into at DB?
Kobe Black was one of the biggest stories of the day. Friday morning, he hit me up to let me know he was coming to Austin. It was going to be between Austin, College Station, or Fort Worth. To see TCU, him and his father decided to make the trip to Austin. Last time Kobe was on campus, he watched Texas and Alabama. And talking to him after that game, the most notable quote was he felt like he could run out in the field and play. The atmosphere was just incredible. The environment was top notch. Getting Kobe Black back on campus is huge. That's the on-3 consensus number 2 corner in the nation. All the big schools have offered: Alabama, LSU, Oregon, USC, Texas A&M. They all like him. Right now, though, I think Texas and TCU look pretty good. TCU obviously coming off the national championship appearance. They've got some good mojo going right now. And then with Texas, he's got a teammate at Connolly named Jelani McDonald who signed during the early signing period in 2023. He'll arrive on campus in June. I asked Kobe, what's going to be the big deciding factor for you? And he's like, comfortability, being comfortable, culture fit, and essentially, playing early. I asked him, what are you going to tell Jelani when you go back to Waco next week? What are you going to tell him about your visit? And he straight up said, I'm going to tell Jelani he made the right decision. And so Kobe Black coming on campus was big. And I think they pushed the right buttons in that recruitment as well. Corian Gibson is just an athlete back there at safety. He'll hit, he'll tag you, he'll ear hole you, he'll take the right angles. He's got some decent ball skills. He's really good on the track. He's got that speed. Lancaster kid. But Texas is battling Alabama there. Alabama has prioritized Gibson. Anytime Alabama prioritizes anyone, especially a defensive back, you need to take notice. But Gibson has built some good relationships with the Texas staff. Now, granted, Chris Gilbert, the former high school relations coach, who's now the tight end coach at North Texas, was the main contact there. Gilbert came from Lancaster, and he was very familiar with Gibson growing up. So there was a lot of familiarity there. That's gone. So now it's Terry Joseph and Pete Kwiatkowski and Blake Gideon's job to keep him in the reins. I thought Texas did well with him on this visit. And then finally, anytime you get an opportunity to bring Willie Nelson to Austin, Texas, you got to do it. And people are going to have fun with his name, and they're supposed to. But let me tell you something about this guy. He may not can play guitar, but he can read a quarterback. He led the East Texas region in interceptions in 2021. He had another half dozen in 2022 on Longview State semifinalist team. Absolute player back there. Oklahoma State, a handful of other schools are in the mix. Willie likes Texas, though. Just like the old Willie liked Austin, this one liked Austin. And his teammate Taylor Tatum, they both had really nice things. They went back to East Texas with high regard of UT. And so I'm glad that Texas is looking at guys not only like a Corian Gibson and a Kobe Black, they're also looking at guys that are a little more under the radar. And that's what Willie Nelson is. He's probably 5'10", maybe 165, 170 pounds. He's got to get a little bit bigger, but he plays a lot bigger than he shows. And his tape is fantastic. And so, yeah, like they brought in some great talent from this 2023 cycle. It's time to refresh and go to 2024. Not a better way to set the foundation than to have a Kobe Black, a Corian Gibson, and a Willie Nelson on campus.
You're the man, Justin. Thank you for the rundown, and please tell the wonderful viewers where to read all of your latest recruiting articles.
Come hang out with us at InsideTexas.com. We're having a sale right now. You can get premium access through the summer until August 31st for only $29.99. Come hang out with us. We have a great community. It's always fun. Texas is recruiting at a crazy level right now. The trajectory of the program is going straight up. We'll have team reports coming up soon. Come hang out with us. I'm Justin Wells at Inside Texas.
And that's a wrap on Justin Wells. Head over to InsideTexas.com and sign up today. Thanks for hanging out. Watch some more of my videos here. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you want to support quality Texas content. As always, hook 'em.